ruthless truth, yeah, ruthless truth. Get down, it could go bad for you. Hit like, comment, subscribe, you know what to do. Be cool, city lights shining so bright. Fine dining lights feels right. Flights to places far from sight. Get right, ruthless truth, yeah, ruthless truth. Get down, it could go bad for you. In the city where we move, stay cool. Underneath the neon glow, life is fast but take it slow. Every moment like a show. Let's go. Dancing through the night, we got energy flows we can't hide. Feel alive, we outside. Moments fleeting but we shine. In this rhythm we align. Time flies. Moments fleeting but we shine. In this rhythm we align. Time flies. Ruthless fleeting but we shine. In this rhythm we align. Time flies. Ruthless truth, yeah, ruthless truth. Get down, it could bad for you. In the city where we move, stay cool. Stay cool.
Hey, nobody bigger than the program.
Top of the morning, I said bottom of the morning, to YouTube. Hit the like button. Yes, today's show was my second show. I felt inspired to do this topic. What can we learn from Michelle Obama? I spelled her name wrong. Michelle Obama, Ayesha Curry, Chrisean Rock, right? What can we learn from these women, right? What common thread, can we put together? Because we do understand all these women were married to very successful men. So how can we learn? What's up, Savage? My screen's so small? Oh, no. You see? There we go. Is that better? So what can we learn from these women, right? All these women are in relationships with exponentially successful men, right? Even though Chrisean Rock might be the lesser of the three, her man is like, but he's a millionaire and a successful artist. All of them are not happy. All of them are not happy. All of them complain. That's the common thread. Well, it's more than that. They all married to successful men. They all have, these men gave them lifestyles. The men, supported them, supported their, whatever it is that they want to bring up. Oh, shit. I don't know. Wow, Savage. I don't know. That was pretty sad. Yeah, they are. They're happy with them. That's what thank you, Savage. They are unhappy with themselves. And that's another common thread with these women. And these women have access and have married some of the most prominent men in the world. These women have lived lifestyles that some people would never, ever be able to even obtain. And not only are they unhappy with themselves, like my boy Savage said, they're unhappy with their husbands. They're unhappy with the lifestyle because they feel like, these women feel like they deserve more. They feel like that they should be the ones getting all this praise and all the humorage. This is just an example, right? This is a small example, but a very big example at the same time of, we can look at this and quantify this, right? With all the complaints of all the women in the world, right? whether they be poor or rich, whether they're married to a successful or unsuccessful. But the complaint seems to be very consistent. I'm not happy. I want more. I didn't want to do this. I hated doing this. I deserved attention. It was very difficult for me, right? And they're not only are they're expressing this to the world. So we, as gentlemen, we can sit back and examine this together. If you attach yourself to one of these women, more than likely the results are going to come up to this. This is the nature of women. Why do they get envious of the man that's sharing all his resources with them? Because they want the power and the fame. This is what feminism has done to women. It's made them be delusional. Men are sharing their resources with them. These men have given them a lifestyle, beyond what they could do for themselves, in my opinion. And this is their demand and expectations. When women link up with men, they expect us. And they demand that we be the level of the best possible. And then when they get it, they turn around and say, that's not enough. That's not enough. And this is a very divisive mindset. Because at the end of the day, these guys met and exceeded expectations for these women. At the end of the day, these guys did what it do. I don't care if Blueface went to jail. He still could have took care of Chrisean. His mom and them had a house that she could live at, raise the kid until he got out. She was wanting for nothing. Blueface, he all she had to do was just look like a bad bitch. That's all she had to do. That's it. Ayesha Curry, all she had to do is look like a bad bitch. That's it. All Michelle Obama had to do is be the first lady. That's it. Damn, how hard a job is that? How hard a job is that? I got the video. We're going to play this video, Michelle, and we're going to listen to her. And we're going to break this down, right? We're going to do this.
As a first-year associate, I was making more than my parents made combined, which seemed like something you didn't turn down. If you have the opportunity to do that, it's like, yeah, sure, I'm going to work for a firm. But that's what I was really doing all my life. I was box checking. I was just, because I was a good student and I could do certain things, that's what I did. I sort of understood that there was a formula. Be a good student, show up, do the work, check. Got that. Get good grades, go to a competitive high school, went to a magnet high school, was this class treasurer, top of the class, check, got it. Because I can do this. I'm just marching through life, check, 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 apply to top college, got into Princeton, right. I'm in, graduated at the top of the class, go to law school. Why? I don't know. There wasn't really a thought to why I went to law school. It was just, I don't know what I'm going to do after graduate school. Not going to be a doctor because I don't like science or math. I like to talk. I like to argue. And so why not go to law school? So I applied to Harvard, get in. Well, you go to Harvard. That was my thought process. There wasn't purpose. There wasn't, what do I care about? I didn't know what being a corporate lawyer meant. I was just checking boxes until I became a lawyer. And And a lot of stuff happened in that year besides me just joining Sidley and Austin in that period of time. We lost our father. He died very suddenly. One of my best friends from college, Suzanne, died of lymphoma, and it was sudden. She was diagnosed in December, and she died in May. Really the first time in my life where people that weren't expected to die died. You know, we had lost grandparents and great-grandparents, and I was really having kind of an existential crisis sitting on the 47th floor of in my beautiful office with a secretary and a sob in the garage, thinking, why me? Why am I here rather than Suzanne? Because that friend was also the dreamer, the person who wasn't box checking. She went to Princeton, but she traveled the world. She didn't go to business school right away. And I always thought, you got to get your life together. You got to be on a path. Mm-hmm. And I thought, thank God she didn't do that, because she didn't know she was going to die. But instead of sitting in some office building, she was living life and trying on new things. And I realized I hadn't done that for myself. All I was doing was following a game plan. I wasn't trying to figure out my purpose. And at the same time, I met Barack Obama. He showed up in my life as the opposite of a box checker, but somebody I describe in my book as an ultimate swerver. He did nothing by the book, but he was brilliant and interesting. You know, he didn't go to law school right away. He worked as a community organizer. He lived in different parts of the world. He was really trying to unpack life in a way that people in my generation weren't trying to do. You were just, you know, I was with the Black bourgeois, right? And people were buying their homes and getting their cars together and trying to make partner at a firm. There was a very finite path. And I hadn't explored anything else but that. And I thought, I have to do something more before I settle on this. And I think Barack helped give me the courage. You know, he was the person in my ear that said, why would you want to just stop here and settle on this career when there's so much out there that you haven't tried, right? You can do this. And I was like, but I'm loaded down with debt. And right around that time, we knew we were going to be together. We knew we were going to be engaged. And he was like, we'll figure that out. He's like, don't settle on becoming a partner at a law firm because of money. You know, it's like, you need to see the world in a different way, and we'll figure this out together. And so I started swerving. I started trying other things in life and never looked back.
Craig, when was the first time you heard that your little sister had met a guy called Mr. Obama?
Well, she called me up and said, hey, I met a guy. I want to bring him by. And my mom, my dad, and I were sitting on our front porch. And she pulls up in her nice Saab 900 that you've heard a lot about. And he gets out of the car, and that was the first time we met him.
And what did you think of him, honestly?
Honestly, I was like, you know, he may last 2 months because
because of who?
Because of he'd do something and be like, oh, that's a deal breaker, and he'd be on his way. And my mom, I remember my mom saying, well, at least he's tall. we were just meeting him like we would meet somebody she'd bring by.
But I never brought. She didn't bring a lot of
guys by. So that's why we thought it wouldn't last that long, because she didn't bring too many guys by.
Yeah, but why would you think it wouldn't last? The people that didn't last, you didn't meet.
But we heard about them.
Yeah, but you never met them.
Yeah, well, I have known my sister.
That's one of those just sort of myths.
Time.
Michelle's so hard on men, you know. So I
didn't say she was hard.
I brought him home, and I think there was one other boyfriend that you met, even though I had plenty of boyfriends. I just
I met more than two.
Well, that's
guys.
because we went to school together.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Those guys didn't last.
But they didn't come home.
Well, okay. Well, I met them.
Yeah.
I met them.
But they didn't meet mom and dad.
No, they didn't meet mom and dad, but that's because we weren't in Chicago.
Ugh. Anyway,
It's all that matters is really how it turned out, right? So like,
this is the sibling. It's like,
you rejected him at first, right?
Yeah, because Barack was, I was assigned to be his advisor, and that didn't mean I was his boss, but I was a first year associate, so they tried to pair first years sort of with new summer associates just to help get them acclimated and to kind of give them advice to sort of mentor them for the summer. So I was his mentor, right? So he comes in, he's late. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's trifling because in the Robinson family, we didn't do late, but he was raining and he didn't have an umbrella. And so he was a little wet. So I was a little annoyed, but he stood up and he was tall and he was more handsome than his pictures. So I sort of thought, oh, okay. And not what I expected. So I took him around the office, got him settled into his office, took him out to lunch for that first day, and we talked for like hours. And I knew that we were going to be friends. He was smart, he was funny, had a good sense of humor, didn't take himself too seriously. So we clicked right off the bat. And over the course of the summer, we actually became really good friends. I was even trying to introduce him to some of my friends, my girlfriends, saying, there's this really cute guy who's my advisor. Because in my mind, there wasn't any way that the few Black associates there who both went to Harvard were going to date. In my mind, I was like, that's going to be tacky. That's expected, right? And I was just sort of into doing what not doing the expected, right? So my mind went somewhere else. I was like, meet all these wonderful, beautiful women that I know, And after a couple of outings, he said, well, why don't we go out? And I was like, no way are we going to go out. That's just not going to happen. We are friends. And he was sort of like, well, why? And he made the case. I said, well, I don't think it looks right. And he said, who cares about how it looks? And so he made his Barack Obama case over a couple of weeks. And finally, I was like, okay, we'll go out on one date. And so he planned after that, it was over. It was a full day date where he pulled out all the stops. I'm sure I picked him up because I had the nice car. And we went to the Art Institute where he showed me his suave, view of art. And we had lunch at the museum. And then we walked from the Art Institute down Michigan Avenue north. So we walked hand in hand, talked slowly, and then we went and had dinner on top of Lake Point Tower, which was a beautiful view of the city. And then I think, ended the evening going to Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. So, I mean, he had planned, culture, art, lovely stroll. And slowly I was like, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe there is something more here. But yes, that's a long way of saying I did say no for a good month or two. But by the end of the summer, I think it was that summer, by the end of the summer, I was introducing him to my family.
You both have that through line through your story of ticking the boxes. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, it's kind of what we were talking about yesterday on your show, where if you have sometimes your preconception has to fail you.
Yeah, that's right.
And you have to feel it for you to understand that maybe a pivot is needed in your life. And it was the same when I was talking about my early journey. Valerie, this very interesting character in your life. This is the letter, I found it, that Valerie wrote into me. And she's talking about the pivot you made from being a lawyer to leaving that law firm and going in pursuit of something else. What was the something else you were pursuing, before I read what Valerie said to me?
I had no idea because I didn't know anything. But I started with what I had to spend some time thinking, journaling about what did I care.
So, I mean, all this seems so fairy tale, right? I mean, it seemed that her and Barack had a very pleasurable experience. What would make Michelle Obama complain in the end? And these are the questions I have about these women.
What did
I
Valerie
was the
say?
same. And at that time in your life, those early 30s, what's going on with Mr. Obama?
Oh, by then he had written his book because he was the president of the Harvard Law Review. The president of the Harvard Law Review is the top student at the top law school in the world. So, and he was the first Black student to be elected president of the Harvard Law Review. And that garnered a lot of attention for him. We were dating at the time. And so he got a book contract to write his story, Dreams from My Father, which I thought was, who writes a book at your age, right? But he was like, yeah, I might as well tell my story. And, and it was money, right? He got in advance and we were engaged. So he was working on that project, but he was still trying to figure out what he was going to do. And when you're the president of the Harvard Law Review, basically the world of law is open to you. The normal path is that you clerk for an appellate judge for a year or two, and then you go on to clerk for the Supreme Court. Then, you go on to do appellate work. You have offers from every law firm. You are in demand, or you can do policy or whatever. That was the normal path. I was like, so are you going to clerk? He was like, why would I clerk? So he didn't work at any of the big firms. He went to a very small firm that was doing public interest work. So he wasn't making a lot of money. He was doing what I was doing. He was going the opposite direction of all the things that were supposed to make us money. But he was like, money isn't why I'm doing this. I'm trying to figure out how I can best use my skills to impact the most people. So he was doing 50 million jobs. And we were cobbling together our payments for our student loans at the time, which were more than our mortgage. We had bought a condominium. We were on our way to building our lives together, but we were in deep debt. So while we were both pursuing our deep love of being in the community, our incomes were going in the opposite direction of where they were supposed to go. But we were in this together. Politics hadn't really come into the fold yet. It wasn't a part of the conversation. But we were both kind of on these parallel paths, kind of figuring out how do we take all these skills and all this energy and help people. I was working in the city. He was working everywhere else and writing a book. And we were just kind of, we were sort of plotting ahead.
Business takes me all over the world, and I travel about 50 weeks a year. And up until recently, one of the challenges I continued to face was staying connected as soon as I landed somewhere new. The reality is I don't have time to wait around and sort out SIM cards while I'm on the go. So a few months ago, I tried something with Brooke. What does someone like me at 32 years old, who is in a relationship, who is aggressively pursuing a career, because I feel like I've got to build and set my family up for the future, what advice would you both give me about navigating love through that part of your career where it's go, 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 go?
For somebody with your personality in particular, my advice would be that, I could see you thinking, if I've got my stuff together and I've got my path going over here and you've got your path going over there, as long as we're both trudging along because of life.
You had some pregnancy struggles.
Yes.
And I've spoken to many women on this show who have been through similar pregnancy struggles. And it's something that it's actually a big conversation in my life at the moment, but also just some of my friends in my life around trying to get pregnant.
Person.
Was there ever a moment where you thought,
there are the moments where I'm like, right? But was it real? No. There was never really a full moment. There were moments when I was resentful. There were moments when I was mad.
Why would you resent? Why are there moments where you're resenting your man? Why are there moments where you're resenting your boyfriend? And this is my question, right? When she said there were moments that I resented him. So he wasn't committing infidelity. He wasn't disrespecting you. So what is that you resented so much about your man? And this is where, we have to deep dive into these women's in these relationships, right? Because they seem to be troublemakers, because Obama seemed like a man who was on his purpose, right? He had a vision, and she like rode with it. Then, but there are times she wanted to go against the grain, right? This is very problematic and concerning, because when you're talking about marriage and lifelong, life together, there's no time. And no time. Now, I do understand we have to agree to disagree sometime, but there is no reason why my wife, my woman, should ever resent me in any form or any fashion. That is inexcusable, inapplicable. You can be mad at me about something, okay. You can be sad about something, okay. But to resent me, that is diabolical. And once again, right, this shows that women, they're haters. Women are haters. They can be your lover, turn into your enemy. A woman can love you and then turn to be your enemy. This is why I'm anti-marriage, right? Because there's just no way you can control this. There's no way you can make this predict. No way you can control that, right? And this large comes back with the emotional dependency, right? This is what emotions are. Emotions are up and down, like a roller coaster, pinging off everything. Bing, ping, ping, ping. And men, we know that, yeah, we're emotional, but we know we do not want to get into our emotions, because we understand that our emotions are not the best thing to rely on. But women seem to think their emotions is important to them and have a habit of relying on them. But when I heard her say, I resented him, Michelle Obama, you do not ever supposed to resent your husband. At no time. You resent people you hate. You resent people you don't like. You resent the people you love.
Person.
Was there ever a moment where you thought,
there are the moments where I'm like, right? But was it real? No. There was never really a full moment. There were moments when I was resentful. There were moments when I was mad. There were moments when I didn't feel like I got enough attention.
Bingo. Bingo. I didn't feel I got enough attention. Listen, there ain't no fucking way that you can be in a relationship and expect every motherfucking piece of attention to be on you. Ain't no fucking way. That is the most diabolical thinking. That is the most superficial and unrealistic thought you can have. Oh, that he's supposed to give me attention, more attention than everything else all the fucking time. How dare she say, I don't think I was getting attention. What the fuck you mean? I got to get this money. I got to get to the bag. This is what your expectation is. This is what you're demanding. Oh, that get that bag. Yeah, I want my man, get that bag. But bitch, I can't give you all the attention because I got to get out here and get this bag. Now when I get back and come down, then I give you your attention. How was your day? And you tell me how was my day. We have the whatever, right? But 8 hours to 12 hours, I'm out getting that bag and putting it together. I'm figuring this shit out. It ain't easy making money. It ain't easy finishing a journey. And you women are unrealistic. And you guys should be ashamed of yourself to think that you deserve more attention than what you're already getting. When your demands are very high. Your demands are very, very difficult. 6 figures and all these things, and emotional intelligence and quality time. That's very difficult when a nigga chasing his dreams, chasing that bag. Yeah, I still can give it to you, but not like, see, and I think this is where women are delusional. They think when we date in that first 30 days, how I'm giving them my attention, my time, they think that shit's supposed to be like that for the next 10 years. And that's delusional. And this is what Michelle thought. She thought, oh, there's time I wanted more attention. What the fuck? Your first 30 days or 60 days, I was just putting time aside for you to get to know you. And then that way, we can set our boundaries, set our expectations, and all the things we do. Then now, after you understand that I really like you, that I'm going to be monogamous with you, that I'm going to be dedicated to this journey. Now I'm not going to have the time the next 5 years to be with you every day on a coffee date. I'm not going to be able to be with you on that couch all the time because I have to get out there and get to the bag. And getting to the bag requires work. So I can't be laying up under you and in your presence all motherfucking day. I can't be around you all day if I have a purpose to get the family in order for the future, to set up things for the future so that we can be stable. This takes time, hard work, whether it be physical or whether it be mental. It's still hard work.
But it's like, don't you feel that in your relationship right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just me.
And this nigga agreeing, yeah. Nigga, that's unrealistic expectations that Michelle talking about. She deserves attention. More attention, bitch.
Understanding, yeah, I was mad, but I forgot even why I was mad, right? That's so, it's like, was I really that mad? Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. So no, in the end, no, we're, and the beauty of
And this is the thing, right? And this is what women need to learn. Women need to understand that words have meaning. You coming out talking about fuck you or whatever, or I don't want to be with you, I don't want to be married to you no more. That shit is not a fucking game that you should play with me. You leveraging our marriage to have your way or to try to make a point is not healthy.
Husband and our partnership is that neither one of us was ever really ever going to quit at it because that's not who we are. And I know that about him. He knows that about me, so no.
Both of your lives change because of a decision that former President Barack Obama decides to make, which is to run for public office. And that has a profound impact on both of your lives because it's the most powerful job in the world. You become the most famous family in the world. When he said that he was going to do that, did you believe that he was capable of it?
Yeah, that was the problem. Is like, I knew that in my heart, I knew that he would make a phenomenal president. And as I've written in the light, the truth is that my initial reaction was like, oh no, oh my God, don't do this. It had everything to do with having the foresight of knowing what this would do to our lives. I mean, I was projecting that if you win, which I thought he could and should, he would be somebody that I would want as my president. It was all about, this is going to, our kids are little. We're going to have to move. How do you raise kids in the White House? It's dangerous. As the first Black potential president, we knew there would be death threats. There was just how would we afford it? Because it's expensive to live in the White House. As many people don't know, I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it. But everything, even travel, if you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane. It is an expensive proposition, and you're running for 2 years and not earning an income. So all of that was in my mind. And
this is the problem. It's not your fucking job to think about that shit. I'm the leader. That is not for your job to be thinking about this and that. If I start to run for president, fall in line. I'll figure all that out. I'll make sure that the kids will get paid to get to where they get to. I will, obviously, there's people, for you to run for president, you need money, right? And he didn't have that kind of money. So he had, obviously, people who was giving him money, right? You had people who was supporting his campaign, which all presidents do, right? So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? See, this is why women are better in the back than in the front. This is why women are better in the house than outside. She's thinking about, oh, well, that's not your position or role. If I'm running for president, if I'm running for a seat or going for a CEO position, if I'm going for the leader, or if I'm going for some sort of position that's high office, you just get in line and play your position. I got this, because I'm sure that Barack Obama made all the proper assessments, right? I'm sure a team was assigned to him, and a lobbyist definitely, right, were lining up with him. They're pouring for him to even get that nomination. He has to have a certain amount of money in his bank account. They were pouring in millions. To run an average campaign is 100 million now. And Michelle Obama's up here worried about, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for that? That's not your job, baby girl. That is not your job. Your job is to follow my lead. And this is what's wrong with this feminism. Women feel they should be the ones. And this is just of conflict of interest. I don't need you to be trying to cooperate with me and negotiate with me. But if I say I'm running, I'm running.
Would we manage this? So my fears what came from the fact that I thought he could win. Because maybe way in the back of my mind, I was hoping that maybe he wouldn't, that this would be the last thing he would do. But I knew he had it in him to make this happen.
This one change has transformed how my team and I move, train, and think about our bodies. When Dr. Daniel Lieberman. So here is what we're going to do. You're going to send me a question, and the most popular question you send me, I'm going to text it to 100 CE
of a nest egg, so that we wouldn't be just financially broke at the end of it. And I thought that was going to cut it, right? Because we weren't in really, we were just starting to make decision moves where we were recovering the income that we lost making our purposeful moves. So I kind of thought that was going to be the deal breaker. But then he was chosen to give the speech at the Democratic National Convention. and he just blew up. And as a result of that, and maybe I'm getting it out of order, Dreams for My Father went back on the bestsellers list. He wrote Audacity of Hope, so there was all this income that was being generated from his book sales. And he kind of looked at me like, I think we're okay. And I'm like, oh, darn, drats. So I didn't know enough to know what to ask for. I mean, we were flying blind. I didn't know what that journey was going to be and what I would need to negotiate for.
Obama said, check it out, little mama, we got this. And this is why women are better in the back than in the front. Because men, we're risk takers, and then we make calculated risk. And we get to it.
For myself. And that was a bit problematic. It was problematic not to know what I needed.
What should you have said?
I should have said that I needed his team to really, truly value that he had a family. That
AKA interpretation, he has a wife.
I shouldn't have just said, well, this is what it takes to get this done. I mean, it was almost like the consultants that sit around. It was almost like this is the way it has to be. And remember, the legacy of presidential office doesn't recognize families. It is not designed, you get in there and it all revolves around the commander in chief, who has always been a man. And the whole system of it doesn't really take into account that there's a wife and kids and their needs. And
what you mean? Your bills are paid. You got food. You got a roof over your head. You got clothes on your back. They don't need to think about you. He's the man. Obama is the one who is they banking onto, whatever it is they want him to do. You're just not it. And she's getting a little bit resentful and jealous that he's getting all the attention, that everybody's looking to him for, you're the man, you're the president. And she probably thought I should be in that position. And this is a very poisonous and very dangerous mindset.
And the demands on them. So I wound up having to fight for a lot of stuff on my own. So if I had known these things, and maybe Laura Bush knew more than I did because the Bushes had been in the White House. Maybe, I think about maybe there's some world where people knew more about this thing than we did to understand the impacts, but there are also generational differences. I was a very different first lady, not terribly different from Hillary Clinton, but it was a different time. We had small kids in the White House, and that didn't happen often. There were just accommodations and ways that the West Wing did not think about or work to fully protect all of us in the process as a unit. And so,
what are you talking about? You got security around you 24/7. Oh my gosh! Protect what? Once the campaign starts, you're assigned security. You're in the White House. You are some of the most protected people while he's running for president. What are you talking about? You got security 24/7 on you until this day. I don't understand what Michelle talking about.
If I had known what I knew now, I would have asked for different things, but I had to push to get the things that we needed to be able to operate as a
man. The man, Barack Obama is the man of the house. That is not your job to be thinking about his position. He's going to make sure you have everything financially. And this is women's problem. Women are trying to infiltrate to a position that we have mastered. Men have mastered being providers, protect all this stuff. We mastered it. And now they're trying to help us, but we do what we already mastered.
The family, even when it came down to how the Secret Service protected little kids, you know, the girls had to have a detail, right? So they started school in 2nd grade and 5th grade in armed cars with primarily men with guns going into a new school, strangers that they did not know. And the detailees weren't practiced on going to.
Oh my gosh. What do you mean? What is she talking about? You gonna tell me these trained CIA gentlemen, they don't know how to protect small children? Get the fuck out of here, Michelle. Get the fuck out of here. Ain't no fuck way you're gonna have the CIA protect Secret Service don't know how to protect your kids. They got guns. They know that anything move to them kids, they're going to shoot them guns. They're going to subdue them immediately. So what else do you want? They're escorting them to school. That's all they're doing, escorting them to school to make sure that there's no attack on the kids.
Sidwell's 2nd grade schoolyard. So we had to basically work on how do you do this for little kids?
The fuck? You sound crazy. So we see here, right? No matter how successful the man is, the woman will get in her ego and try to tell him how to do it. She's trying to tell Barack Obama, probably one of the most successful men in the history of this world, that, oh, we need to tell security. And now she's telling the security, you don't know how to protect kids? Man, Michelle crazy. And this is the problem with these women, man. They don't know how to sit back and just be a wife or be a girlfriend. It's always want to challenge what we've already mastered. Now we're going to go to Ayesha Curry and see her foolishness.
And I need to get my shit together and figure out what that looks like for myself now.
Okay, rewind 2 steps.
Yeah.
Married at 22.
Yeah.
How did you know you were ready for that?
I didn't. I just knew that I loved him, and I'd never experienced anything else. I'd never felt any differently than this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so we kind of just dove in. And
did anyone or you or Steph or anyone have any hesitations about oh, we're getting married in our early 20s, or no?
No. And I say this all the time to our family. I'm like, you guys, 22. I'm like, you guys. I'm like, not a single parent. Nobody was like, hey guys, are you sure? Everybody was like, no, this is what's happening. And we love you and we love you. And it's going to be great. It's just wow.
Totally.
When I really look at it.
Well, and again, because there are so many people that may watch this that are like, oh, 22 for them, whether it's because they watched their parents get married young or whatever, it was normal. But you, in the beginning of this interview, started by being like, girl, I didn't even think I wanted to get married.
Yes, exactly.
So it is a big deal that at 22,
Yeah.
it was.
It's a mixture of that and a mixture of like there are levels to 22. Like there's different styles of 22-year-olds. But I was like the naive, like very young, unpolished, 22-year-old. Like I didn't have very much life experience. And so it's just interesting.
It is, but it's again, I think like why I was excited to talk to you is because as women, there's just like so many things that happen in our life that we want to plan for.
Yeah.
And then obviously life just doesn't go as planned. And to hear you at a young age getting married, I think like, and knowing it was such a success, but it doesn't mean the whole ride was easy. Like that's what I'm
Right.
excited to get into.
Yeah.
So like a few months after getting married, you just said you could
3 months.
Okay. What was going through your head when you found out that news?
I was confused because my
How
OB,
are you confused?
because my OB said expect it to take up to a year. And so I'm like, oh, if in my head I heard at least a year. I was thinking we were gonna be like bar hopping. Like it's like nope. You're pregnant and you're going to be very, very sick. But I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change a thing.
Of course.
But it was not on my bingo card.
And when all this went down, like, I guess now looking back, what advice would you give to someone listening of like how to embrace when your timeline suddenly changes?
Oh, there's no such thing as a timeline, I think is the bottom line. Things are going to shift. Like life is ebbs and flows, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Sometimes stuff's going to suck, like, but you can always recover. And I think it's important also, like sometimes you can feel like you're in your own bubble, or like if you lose, like for me being married,
How did being in the spotlight impact your relationship in the early days? Because you guys didn't know how to handle it.
it's a double-edged sword, because parts of it have afforded me doors to be open. I obviously have to walk through them and then put in the work to stay in the room. But that I think would be the elephant in the room, is like I'm grateful for that side of things. But on the flip side, I in the beginning hated it so much. I like did not sign up for that. I also always thought like I didn't know that he was going to end up playing basketball. Like he said he wanted to be a high school basketball coach. Like I thought I was going to be like the girl.
She thought she was going to be the leader. She thought she should be the one to get all the attention. She thought same thing like Michelle, right? The same thing. The same ideology. I didn't sign up for that. So now she's going to, she's trying to figure out why she ain't doing what Steph is getting.
Girl out there getting it. So I didn't know. And so it just like, it was weird. And sports fans are so different than like maybe entertainment world fans. And oftentimes it's like very ruthless. And so I think I wasn't expecting that either. I remember like one time right after my first was born, she was whiny. So I was like, let me just nurse her in the back seat. And Stefan was putting a bike or something in the trunk. And this woman like opens the car door and she sticks her head in and she's like, I just wanted to see the baby. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. And she looks me dead in my face and goes, oh, honey, you know what you signed up for. And then like shuts the door on me. And I was just crying because I was like postpartum. I was just bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, what? Like, is this what it's going to be like?
Wow.
And so the beginning phases were kind of scary for me.
And as a woman, like, did you ever experience any type of like direct scrutiny over just like you or what you looked like or how you were acting?
Oh, all the time. I feel like I still do. And that's okay. But
How did that impact you though early on when you were like, I'm still not equipped to handle this? Because now you're like seasoned. Yes, it affects you, but you now have the tools of like, I've been here before. I know exactly how to handle this moment.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it doesn't still hurt.
It was so depressing. And also it was during that time when this like social media thing was just ramping up. And so people were going buck wild. And just spewing opinions on things that didn't warrant opinions. And so I think for a while, yeah, I was very critical of myself because of the things that I was seeing.
It's so hard also to be the woman in a situation where you're like, men just don't get as much scrutiny. Like they can maybe tell him like, your fucking shots suck tonight, but like the looks and all of that is just like not a factor of conversation as much.
No.
Did you talk to Steph about it? Like, or did you kind of keep it within yourself so it didn't?
I do not have a bone in my body that can keep anything to myself. So if it comes to mind, it's coming out. And he's so gracious. Like he tries to resonate with me, but he just can't. And he also comes from a
He's trying to tell you, keep your mouth shut, relax, enjoy this money, enjoy your life. What are you doing telling all these people our business? Why are you doing all these things to get us unwanted attention? Just enjoy the lifestyle you got. We got beautiful kids. You got 2 Rolls Royces. You got me. I'm not chasing any other women. I'm loyal to you. What's good? All she had to do was be a bad bitch. That's all Ayesha Curry has to do. But I believe women want more, right? I believe even if you can't give them everything because all they're going to do is want more. They want to feel significant in their contributions, which creates, a unhealthy type of relationship because now you're thinking you're doing everything right as a man. You're thinking you're, doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to get this money. I'm going to make sure she has everything she needs. I'm going to be the dad, the husband. I'm going to be, and she looks, but she might be jealous because she thinks she should be getting the attention because she probably thinks being a mother is more important than being an NBA basketball player. Sorry, dear. That just ain't how life goes. Nobody cares about the trash guy. Nobody cares about, the police officers. Nobody cares about, certain positions. But NBA, sports, and, politics, music, entertainment, people give highly praise to that stuff. And the people who excel in that type of life will always get more attention than the average person. And that's just what you're going to have to deal with. So what can we learn from these women here, right? Now we're going to Chrisean Rock. Let's go to Chrisean. See what she talking about. Let's go to Chrisean.
Talk. Oh, see, let's not talk about it because I don't want to talk myself out of it.
Is it gonna hurt for real though?
Yeah. It literally burns your skin. You know how you burn your skin with a pot and you get a little blister with liquid in it? It does that.
And then you can put something else there, or you can just work on your skin just being your skin.
But you see how it's like in this frame? You don't even see it unless I turn it
because you
over.
got your hair like that, like that. So I can't see it until like when you lean back, then your face came out on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't totally see it.
You can't.
No, totally see. But you could put like a rose or.
Yeah, I put a rose on this one. I covered it up
or
the first
heart
time.
Or something like that.
Yeah, when he played the first time, I covered it up. I forgave him, put him back. But I put I put him on my face because when he got locked up, I wanted to make him feel bigger. Like, because he felt real small and he was getting real down. I ain't like that. So, I don't know. I just know how to lift a nigga up.
So you met him when y'all were on that show. On that show you were telling me about that.
Yeah, I met him on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he liked you.
Yeah.
And then you
First he hired me, then he signed me, and then he liked me. But I think he liked me the whole time. Because the way he
was talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see him liking you though, Chrisean. Though, you know, it's not like, you know, you ain't no bad looking girl. You ain't no bad looking girl coming through. So I can see it. He could be like, hey girl, how are you? What's going on with you?
Blue.
Would you ever get back with him?
There's like this
If
thing
he
where we
became
need closure.
spiritual?
No, if he came correct,
Yeah.
and then
What do you mean correct? If he came correct, you was the one out here fucking all these other dudes while he was locked up. There it is. There, she don't want to accept responsibility, accountability. She blame everything on the man. So he needs to come correct, and he doesn't even know if he's the father. Well, I'm in the show. Thank y'all for coming. Hit the like button. I'm out.